All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Russ Parr from the Russ Parr Morning Show. And of course, a lot of you don't listen to my program because it's probably one of the worst broadcasts ever in the history of radio. So I feel very proud of that. Today, we'll be discussing the Stay Well HBCU campus tour that recently wrapped up and how to keep campuses healthy. Our very special guest today, Kenny Washington. He's the president of the Leon Frank Agency, a premier HBCU sports marketing agency. How you doing, sir?
I'm well, Russ. How are you today?
You want to know the truth?
Go for it, of
I have
course.
I have COVID.
Oh man. Oh man.
My first time getting it, and it's like I got a sledgehammer in my head. And what the trip about it is that I wear my mask everywhere at all times. But there could have been a moment where I pulled it down to take a sip of a drink on an airplane, and I think that's got it because my wife, my daughter, all of us got it. So it's okay. Let's go ahead and ask you, how have HBCUs been impacted by COVID over the course of the pandemic?
Well, Russ, and prayers to you and your family, man. Hope you all get better soon.
Thank you.
But if
Appreciate
we
it.
take it back to the beginning of the pandemic, which I believe was early 2020 in March, you're basically looking at in the college world, the middle of the semester, right? So
Right.
in the middle of semester, campuses shut down. Students had to
Mhm.
leave their dorms, students had to head home. You go from going to class every day to now having to kind of migrate into a virtual space where you're learning and going through like that. So it
Right.
impacted campuses dramatically. And then if you look at in the world we are in sports, it interrupted March Madness. It interrupted, I myself was literally sitting at the MEAC basketball tournament where when they canceled, they literally
Yeah.
just canceled the tournament. And that's a tough thing for campuses to deal with and for students to deal with.
And it interrupted the college life. You know, going to an HBCU, my son's a graduate of Howard. The fact that he was able and blessed enough to be able to go, 4 years where he could experience the college life. And that was the thing that the pandemic kind of robbed a lot of young folks of. You couldn't go anywhere, you couldn't interact with anybody. So it was kind of rough. Let me ask you, how did the Stay Well HBCU tour get started?
Well, the Stay Well HBCU tour is a partnership between the Leon Frank Agency and the We Can Do This public education campaign. And we collaborated and started this past October on an initiative to give HBCU culture and campuses access to free COVID-19 vaccinations.
Nice, nice.
And what we found, and kudos to a lot of our HBCU campuses, is that were so far ahead of the curve to get students back onto campuses back in 2021. Then
Mhm.
when we came onto a campus this fall, we were providing more booster shots than anything because the campuses had done such a great job on the first couple of COVID-19 vaccinations. So not only being able to touch the on-campus environment, we were at football games, which allowed us to touch the HBCU
Nice.
community in and around our campus, which was severely impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Did you have to be a student in order to get the shot? I mean, if mom was there with them, could they have gotten one too?
Mom, grandma, granddad,
Nice.
community member, fan, alum, you name it, we opened it up to everyone at each stop
At no cost.
at no cost.
Um, do you guys, when you started this tour, did you have professionals there educating folks as to what's going on? Because part of the issue, especially with some people of color, not all, I want to do a paintbrush. They have these conspiracy theories, and some of us tend to believe some of that stuff.
Right.
That it's going to affect your reproductive organs and all these other things, all these misleading things that really discourages people from getting vaccinated. Did you run into a little bit of that?
We did run into some questions, right? But we were
Yeah.
blessed and lucky enough to have professionals on site, whether that was the Morehouse School of Medicine, whether that was the Louisiana Department of Public Health, whether that was the Texas Southern School of Pharmacy. we had professionals there to speak to answer the questions, to educate and inform. So even if you were not ready to receive, you got the education, you got your questions answered. So when you are ready, we were also able to equip you with the correct local information to where you can go and get those vaccinations.
So when you guys were doing this, how many people got vaccinated?
Over 150. And
Nice.
that was across, 6 stops starting in October and then finishing up at the Celebration Bowl down in Atlanta in December.
I think part of the issue that we do have is that we have so many people that just don't want to know the information. We have a fear of medicine and we have a fear of doctors. I have a fear of that too because I'm a hypochondriac. But was that a deterrent in a lot of folks, getting shots? Well, I'm not getting that because I run into that on the radio all the time. You guys are stupid for putting this in your body and this, and you don't know what's going to happen down the road, even though it's been clinically tested and proven safe.
Again, we had a couple of skeptics. We had a number of questions. We didn't run into anyone throughout the culture that was anti what we were doing or against what we were doing. You either supported it or chose not to. And even if you did, we still built out a really great engagement to at least start the conversation, whether that was through a cornhole game, whether that was through some
Nice.
HBCU trivia. We built in opportunities to engage, have the conversation, answer the question, and provide the opportunity if it was right for you at that moment.
Awesome. Now, how can we keep campuses healthy as students return to school?
We could get vaccinated starting, now. If you are not, you can visit vaccines.gov to find your local best place to get vaccinated. But that's the number one thing. And then, of course, if you are comfortable and you choose to wear a mask, definitely masking up helps. But just remaining healthy. And if you do at any point feel sick or you feel something coming on, go check it out. There's a number of opportunities for at-home tests, for tests within your community. Just don't leave it up to chance, but definitely go check it out to protect yourself, your family, and our community at large.
I think a lot of people, we're getting past the scare of the needle because I have to tell you something. You don't feel it. I mean, I haven't felt one shot that I got, and it is so quick. So I want to, all those people are discouraged from going to get this shot. Don't even look at the needle, man. It's just like, boom, are you done? Yeah. Oh, really? Okay. One of the things that we also need to take into account is that we do have some of our older folks in our communities that grew up with a mistrust for government, grew up with a mistrust for medicine, and so on and so forth. But we have to acknowledge the fact that we are disproportionately affected by COVID than other races. And and I want people to also understand that we have so many people out there right now. I mean, it just seems like it's being underreported, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You got to think about somebody other than yourself. And I'm not saying that you're selfish and so on and so forth. You have a right to believe in what you believe in. I'm not going to judge, but I've watched so many of my friends that are gone because they refuse to acknowledge that this thing helps. Because I'm boosted. I've had 5 shots. This is the first time I've ever gotten COVID. And people might say it's mild, even though I got a sledgehammer banging inside my head. I mean, this headache is a monster. It's just like bang, bang. I mean, it's getting me. But, I'd rather have that than see people hospitalized and get intubated. I mean, that's a big thing. Do you care to comment on that?
No, man, I think you're 100% correct, right? It's more than just taking care of us. It's taking care of our community. So many of us in our community, especially our traditional, individuals from an HBCU side who are alum, were impacted and severely impacted. And again, it's not just about protecting yourself. You do want to keep yourself protected, but we're out here and engaging with individuals each and every day. We just came off of a holiday season where we had family gatherings, right? Which is huge within our tradition, our culture, and our community. We want to keep our elders safe. We want to keep our moms, our dads, our grandparents safe. And glad to say that we played a role in that, because that is a large population of who you see at HBCU events, HBCU gatherings, football games, are those alum who come to support, whether it is their legacy, their family member, or support their university. And again, being able to play a role in giving them access to vaccinations was an incredible thing for us.
Are HBCUs taking precautions as far as the dormitory living and so on and so forth? I haven't been to an HBCU in a while. I used to go around the country and speak, and then my son went to Howard, which was really great. But they used to live on top of each other pretty much. Have they addressed that issue?
They have, man. A number of HBCUs at the onset of the pandemic started to look for alternative student housing to ensure that you're not putting 2 to 4 individuals within a small space in a small area. So whether that was increasing on campus housing, whether that was partnerships with local apartment complexes to address the need for more housing, for more space. And then you go into everything from that mask wearing in different buildings to more sanitation stations that you see in a number of HBCU campuses back at 21 required proof of vaccination before you could enter a football game or a stadium. And that, within itself had a huge impact. Again, before you could go to a homecoming in 21, you had to show that proof of vaccination. Everyone's trying to do their part in keeping the culture and the community safe.
Kenny, I want to thank you for participating in this. I mean, this is a public service that needs to be done. And of course, Stay Well Facebook live discussion of what the HBCUs are doing to combat the pandemic. Final question. Would you say, in your estimation, that we are still dealing with the pandemic, or should we relax?
Russ, I think we still are. I think we still will be. I think we cannot relax. We just simply can't relax. We have to continue to keep safety and health in the forefront of our mind. As we've seen over the last couple of weeks in certain parts of the country, the numbers have gone up in positive cases. So we still have to be aware. We still have to be cautious of what we're doing and how we're keeping our inner circle safe. That plays a role in the larger circle of our culture. So no, man, I think we're still dealing with it. I think we still will be, and happy to say that hopefully as we get back on the road this spring with our Stay Well HBCU initiative, we play a larger role in that.
I'm very honored to be able to host these because I think it's so important that information gets out to everybody out there. And for everybody out there listening or watching right now, for more information and additional resources, just go to www.staywellevent.org. That's www.staywellevent.org. And don't forget to find a vaccination site. Head over to vaccines.gov to find locations near you. That would be very beneficial. And don't think about yourself. There are other people that may not be tech savvy, may not be able to do the social media thing. Help them out. Just lend a hand, because it can make a difference in somebody's life. Kenny Washington, president of the Leon Frank Agency, a premier HBCU sports marketing agency. And listen, man, proud of you, brother. I know that you guys, the research I did on you, you guys do very well with your clients and the whole nine, man. And I just want to say thank you so much for partaking in this.
Thank you, Russ. I appreciate you taking the time and having me, man. Get well soon. Prayers to your family. And again, everyone out there, let's stay safe and do our part.
Absolutely. All right, sir. Thank you.
Have a good one, Russ.
You too now.